Paws of justice. The rain-slicked streets of Westerville shimmered under dim streetlights, but the night's tranquility was shattered when Sheriff Hal Grayson found himself crouching over the lifeless body of Victor Monahan, the town's eccentric billionaire. Blood pooled around the victim's head, a crystal tumbler of scotch still clutched in his hand. The case reeked of foul play, but clues were as elusive as shadows. Little did Hal know, the key to solving this mystery rested not in the forensics lab, but on 4 paws belonging to his Bernedoodle, Abby. Abby had been Hal's companion for 2 years, a loyal and sharp-witted dog whose keen instincts often outpaced his human partner. But even Hal hadn't expected his furry friend to play such a pivotal role in unraveling the mystery. The investigation began at Monahan's sprawling estate, a palatial mansion perched atop Westerville. The housekeeper, Mrs. Daphne Wexler, was the one who'd found the body and called the police. Her trembling hands clutched her apron as she recounted the evening. "I heard shouting in the study," she stammered. "When I went to check, I saw him lying there." Hal scanned the room, taking in the antique bookshelves, the overturned chair, and the shattered vase near the door. Something felt off, but it wasn't until Abby padded into the room that things took a curious turn. Abby's nose twitched as she sniffed the air. She let out a low growl and moved toward the fireplace, pawing at a small pile of ash near the hearth. Hal knelt beside her, brushing the ash away to reveal a charred fragment of paper. The writing was illegible, but it was a start. As the days passed, Abby continued to unearth peculiar clues. While Hal interviewed suspects, Abby prowled the estate, her nose to the ground. Abby's next find came in the form of a silk handkerchief snagged on a rosebush outside the library window, a window someone had clearly forced open. The monogrammed initials RB on the fabric led Hal straight to Ruth Bennett, Monahan's business partner. Ruth was a steely woman with sharp eyes and sharper words. "Victor and I argued about selling the company," she admitted when confronted. "But I'd never kill him. I left the estate hours before it happened." Her alibi seemed solid, but Abby wasn't convinced. Back at the station, the dog nudged Hal toward a file cabinet. With a huff, Hal opened it and pulled out an old case file. Inside were documents revealing that Ruth had once been implicated in a corporate embezzlement scandal, one Monahan had covered up. The investigation took a twist when Abby uncovered his most critical clue yet. While exploring Monahan's private garden, Abby unearthed a pair of muddy shoes hidden beneath a hydrangea bush. The size matched those of Charles Wexler, the housekeeper's son, who had a history of petty theft. Charles had been spotted near the estate the night of the murder, but claimed he was simply visiting his mother. Confronted with the evidence, Charles broke down. "I was there," he confessed. "I came to ask Mr. Monahan for a loan. I saw Ruth storm out, and then I heard a loud crash. I panicked and left before anyone saw me." Abby's final act of brilliance came when Hal decided to revisit the study. While Hal examined the Scotch tumbler for prints, Abby sniffed the liquor cabinet and began barking insistently. Hal opened it to find an unlabeled bottle of Scotch with a faint almond scent, cyanide. A quick test confirmed it. The Scotch had been poisoned. Hal's mind raced as he pieced together the timeline. Ruth had motive, but her alibi held. Charles had opportunity but lacked the cunning for such a calculated crime. That left "Mrs. Wexler," Hal said aloud, turning to Abby, who wagged her tail as if in agreement. When questioned, the housekeeper's calm facade cracked. "Victor threatened to fire me," she admitted bitterly. "He said I was getting too old to keep up with my duties, after all I'd done for him. I didn't mean for him to drink it so soon. I just wanted to scare him." With Mrs. Wexler in custody, the case was closed. Hal and Abby returned to their modest home, the weight of the day lifting as Hal scratched behind the dog's ears. "Good work, partner," Hal said. Abby barked, a triumphant sound that seemed to say, "Just doing my job." As the rain fell outside, Hal poured himself a drink, coffee, not scotch, and smiled at his loyal companion. Solving crimes with Abby was never conventional, but it was always effective. After all, in Westerville, even the sharpest detective couldn't hold a candle to the instincts of the town's smartest, Bernedoodle.